earlier was nice. It was a very, it was there was one trolly thing about it, but otherwise it was pretty fast seed. So we'll see what we're in store for tonight.
It actually looks like. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. It looks
Oh,
like
yeah,
he's
no.
going to be starting off with a sword. He left the house with a sword, so I'm pretty sure that means we're going to be getting a sword from him today.
Oh, does it really? I've never paid any attention. I've not paid any attention to that. I've just always been waiting to see what happens when you get to escape, but that would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that kind of can give away the starting item from Uncle is if he leaves the house with a sword, you're pretty much going to be getting a sword.
Oh, I guess it makes sense. He's holding one here too, and there we go. Sword it is.
So this is pure standard now.
Pure standard mode, nice. It's okay, still plenty of opportunities for trolls.
Yeah, and we see our first new item here, the big 20 from the chest there, and Azurell finding another 20 rupees from one of those green guards. So I am sorry, no bomb escape today.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I will say I have a bit of the opposite feeling about. So I am actually still hoping they find bombs though. I like, as much as I enjoy a trolley weapon for escape. I'm sure the runners feel the same way. They're also hoping to find some bombs. I like seeing escape cleared up all in one go. It's just so satisfying. But now I've probably cursed them to not find any bombs. So, you know.
Yeah, let's just hope the snakes and rats pay out with bombs today.
Yeah.
And Jighart about ready to come up on my favorite room here to use with a sword and escape. You can plink on this, and yeah, just like that, bounce them up against that chest.
I think that was the small key that I just saw there. Oh no, wait, no, just a small key off the guard, right? I thought I saw a small key come out of that chest, but
I mean, it's pretty close. It looked like it popped out of that chest, but I think it was just Jighart killing the guard right there.
Yeah. Oh, see, there's that key I was looking for.
All right, and Azurell also taking out that ball and chain guard, getting their small key, and now it is the race to the back of escape now.
Mm-hmm. We see Jighart in a bit of a lead here, and I have to know, making fantastic escape time right now. To be heading up there, 3 minutes 30 seconds, heading back up to Zelda, definitely a good time, and Azurell not too far behind that.
Yeah, unfortunately, still have yet to find a bomb drop.
Yep.
We have found quite a bit of rupees from these guards. We just found, well, pretty much 30 rupees in that hallway for Jighart. Didn't pick up the 5 rupee there, but those guards paying out rupees today.
Yeah, the drop table seems to be pretty generous on the rupee front, which at least means they'll be able to pick up some bombs quickly after. And getting through Kakariko, but it would be unfortunate to have to come back later if they can't find any bombs on the way. Fortunately, lots of easy-to-kill rats coming up.
Yeah, there's plenty of rats, plenty of snakes. There's a couple bats thrown in the mix there, and they're all pretty easy to kill here. And even more rupees. Holy cow.
Ah, there it is. There's the bomb.
And so far, crazy amount of rupees just as drops. 125 for Jighart so far, and Azurell not too far behind. Unfortunately, didn't kill enough snakes in there to get that bomb drop, though.
Yeah. You're definitely seeing a lot of people opt to get through, escape, and then in the room with the bomb, I'll kill all the rats in hopes that they'll drop one, which is generally pretty fast to do, but definitely you start to reach that point where you're worried you're not going to find it.
Oh, and there's bombs in the back here and the Master Sword.
The Master Sword.
Yeah, looks like Azurell is going to go ahead and take care of some of these rats here, hoping to try to get that bomb drop. Unfortunately, does not get it, so Azurell's going to have to come back here to get that Master Sword later on.
Meanwhile, Jighart gets another bomb drop from an enemy. There's always the chance that there will be other sword drops quickly enough. Ooh, Ice Rod, I believe that just was. I couldn't quite see the color at first, but...
Yeah, that indeed was the Ice Rod.
Yeah, Ice Rod.
Now, that's not even aren't sure if you want to see.
And we got a Crystal at Tower of Hera, green pendant at Desert, and red pendant at Eastern, thanks to that map check from Jighart.
Yeah, I think that that Ice Rod might be an omen for things to come.
No, early Ice Rod means Turtle Rock isn't required. Turtle Rock is required. Ice Rod's, you know...
We could always have that...
bridge.
Yeah, so we could always have that early Turtle Rock required, and wow, blue mail already for Jighart.
Yeah. Nice safety, definitely worth picking up, especially not having seen much health-wise yet.
Yeah, and definitely get a chance to see more here in Kakariko. Typically, Kakariko's either completely loaded or just full of hearts and rupees.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's Azurell with his blue mail as well.
And we have the beginning of the really dense item locations here in Kakariko with Blind's Hut. We'll see if these 5 chests hold anything of interest for us. Well, a complete heart container, some more bombs.
And I think Azurell's going to be really happy to see those bombs there.
Yep.
Going to save him 50 rupees in the long run.
That is if he decides to go right there and risk it. I've definitely seen people just opt to head straight for the bomb shop, but...
Yeah, if they go straight for the bomb shop, they're definitely going to be kicking themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But Azurell's going to go and check those chests, so be very happy to find those bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Still not much here in Kakariko.
Oh,
and there's
just and the flippers. Not bad, not bad.
Clearly, I just need to say we haven't found anything, and then items will just appear.
Where's all the progression? Oh, there it is. Got another shield upgrade from the bottle vendor. Oh, and Moon Pearl out of the chicken house. This still isn't necessarily leading them in a direction. Like, it's not... The seed hasn't told us specifically where to go yet. But we're at least finding some items that we need.
Yeah, and you know, with those early flippers, and you know, maybe we'll get a chance to see those early, you know, flipper locations like you know, Waterfall of Wishing holding something really useful.
Alternatively, it could be a sign that we need to start saving up rupees for Zora, which the rupee train seems to have slowed down a little bit. Probably because they had to spend some as well.
Yeah, had to spend some and stop killing enemies because all those enemies are just dropping 20s all over the place. And just a heart container here at the maze game, so Jighart gonna go ahead and pick that up, and we'll likely be on our way to South Shore.
Now, do we think the stun prize will be 20 rupees as well, based on how things are going?
Personally, I would love to see that. Another good thing here. Oh, there's 20 rupees there from that enemy drop. Yeah, one good thing here is having that mirror. We can actually do the block deletion here to save a little bit of time checking the dam.
Oh, and we do have the boomerang, so we can check that stun prize and see if it is 20 rupees.
And it is the best boomerang, if you ask me.
Oh, it's definitely the better boomerang. I mean, I think everyone knows that.
Oh yeah.
And before someone, the red boomerang fans, start yelling at me.
Yeah, there's always one. And even with having the Master Sword, it's gonna make this mini Molder room so easy with sword beams.
Yes, it's one of maybe 3 locations where you actually like sword beams. It's one of the few spots. We have a bottle and a book from Mini Moldarm Cave here.
And 300 rupees.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I'm really confused.
I mean, that is our first bottle, so we have a sick kid check available to us now.
Yeah,
the book leads somewhere, that's for sure. Not somewhere we can complete, but it's also a pendant dungeon, if I recall. Oh no, wait, no, that's our crystal. That's our crystal in the light world. Ooh, hammer sitting on Lake Hylia Island. I just caught a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye.
Oh, so now we need to find 2 glove upgrades to get to Dark World, or yeah, or Aghanim at this point. If we don't find those gloves.
That certainly ups the chances that we have an Aghanim seed tonight. Oh, which would also mean, if that ends up being the case, then Azrael may very well need that sword from Escape.
Yeah, but Jighart did find that very first power glove here from the hobo.
Oh boy.
So, knowing that the hammer is on Lake Hylia Island, you know, it's going to be a really tough decision to, you know, once you get a lot of these like high density areas out of the way, you know, do you just bite the bullet and, you know, go to Aghanim if you've already found the lamp, of course, or do you just continue and search all these one-off locations that could or could not have that other glove?
I mean, once you have the lamp, it would be so tempting. It's such a hard call to make. Maybe if you have flute, then you would take some time to check some other spots, because at least you can fly around to them quickly enough. But I don't know. I would be pretty tempted pretty soon to start thinking about that.
And,
especially when you know that hammer is there.
Yep, and with 468 rupees, I'm surprised Jighart didn't, you know, try or lift up that rock to go and at least get the money required for Zora. Looks like they're gonna be heading up towards the Waterfall of Wishing anyway, so it wouldn't have been a bad idea to go in there and just pick up the rupees that you need, so you know that when you get up here, you can, you know, finish off the loop here and at least get that item from Zora. Well,
Hey,
speaking of that flute,
there's that flute I was talking about.
Alright, so I think at this point, Jighart would need this item to be useful. Ooh, and that's a cape.
The cape. I mean, that definitely gives us a stronger indication of Aga.
Yeah, and especially for Azurell here.
Mm-hmm. Jighart checking out the stun prize, 5 arrows. Not the money needed for Zora.
No, definitely not, and that means that Jighart will have to come back up here later on in the seed to get the item from Zora. And looks like Azurell is decided to take a different route here, so we have a little bit of a divergence so far.
Oh, interesting. Perhaps having found that glove, he's gonna head straight down back into Escape, which will get that Master Sword. So it's definitely worth. It's definitely worth the trip.
Oh yeah, definitely. Alright, it looks like Jighart is going to go ahead and get that flute activated and probably make a trip to the sick kid to see what that bottle gives them.
Yes. And then from there, I would imagine Sahasrahla and Eastern are next, the next highest density spot. But then from there, if we don't find Dark World access, it would be. I've definitely seen some players decide they're not going to check the 1 or 2 spots left.
Yeah, it looks like that's what Azurell is got planned right now. They're heading over to Sahasrahla's hut, and we'll see if they decide to go into Eastern Palace. It's quick 3-item check that you can make. And only being one item away from Dark World access, not a bad check to make. But interestingly enough, I don't recall Azurell checking that Lake Helia Island because they didn't do the flipper locations yet. So I don't think they know that the hammer's there. And is that Mirror Shield 18 minutes into the scene?
Yes, it is.
What in the world? So, Azurell finding the first of our fetch quests today, picking up the mushroom in Sahasrahla's hut. And I like this play from Jighart, taking that book that they had found in the mini Mulderum cave and is going to go and see if that leads to an item. Taking that the breadcrumb theory and heading into desert now.
Yeah, this is interesting. I was thinking as well, even if we find the lamp, which again would be strongly indicating an Agaseed, that would also mean Tower of Hera is now totally open and completable. It's just that lamp. It's also occurring to me now, I think we have a slight mix-up between Desert and Tower of Hera on our tracker, because I believe Hera is our crystal, and I hear pendant music in Desert right now. So Tower of Hera would be appealing as well, even just to get that crystal and to see what is there. But we could, of course, be blocked by a fire source if there's anything in the basement.
Yeah, so it's the hunt for that fire source now. And so far, Azurell has only found 1 item in Eastern so far. Just a heart container in that chest. And Jighart gonna be checking Agnes Cave here. All right. Still not much here. So is Eastern Palace the play? And that is a no. So will that mushroom be our progression? I don't think there's much left for us to check aside from. Yeah, I don't think there's really much left for us to check aside from, you know, like you mentioned before, Tower of Hera and Zora at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, and Hera, unless that the big key is down in the basement, I mean, more often than not in this situation, Hera is going to be open to them. So I mean, that's a whole dungeon to complete, but it's still either way, we're hoping for that lamp.
And interestingly, Azurell is going to be heading towards Agadim, but we don't. Azurell doesn't have the lamp yet, so it's going to be really hard to get through those dark rooms. We'll see if they know how to navigate those.
Yeah, I mean, it could. Oh, red cane off of the old man. Pretty valuable sequence break there. Not necessarily progression at this point, but something that they definitely want to have. And yeah, this is interesting. I mean, this is when you're at this point in a run, you kind of it can be easy to sort of forget that you don't have a certain item. So I wonder if they'll hop up into these dark rooms and actually start moving through them or duck out. Hookshot, though, on top of Spectacle Rock.
Oh, that's going to be huge. That just blew this Death Mountain play wide open.
Yeah, yeah.
So at this point, Azurell would need to go and do those flipper locations. Which we have 5 and 6 in Skull Woods and Swamp Palace. I saw Ice as a our blue pendant. Did you catch what the other pendant was?
That the other two are Light World, so that was it.
All right.
Eastern and Desert are other pendants, so you got it.
That's probably why I didn't see it on there.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, Azurell looks like they are going to be doing the Dark Death Mountain here. Going to save the old man here in the cave. But you know, I think Jighart having that flute and oh boy. Well, there is our Dark World access, and Agadim is actually not required.
Yeah, no more. The Aga dream is dead. Oh, and big key. So there might be an item in the basement, but at least to get the crystal, no worries there. We're good to go.
Yeah, we just have to hope we find that second item in here. Otherwise, we got to go into that basement, and nobody likes going into that tile room. Alright, so it looks like Azurell has made it onto Death Mountain with no problems, got their Canis and Maria, and will be picking up their hookshot here. To answer the question in chat, the arrow upgrade was on the Lumberjack ledge, so we don't need that item. So Agadim is not required. We can get to the Palace of Darkness and Pyramid area having those flippers. So that is why at this point the Agadim dream is deceased. Right now, Azurell has made their way into Tower of Hera.
Yep, just and grabbing that Titan's Mitt as Jighart is fighting Moldorm here, dodging some falls. Whew, those were both so close.
See, if that was me, I would have fallen because Moldorm.
Oh.
Oh, unfortunate.
Very close. I think just one spin left.
Yeah, you just have one spin.
And for those asking in chat, the basement of Tower of Hera can now lock itself. It can hold the small key, although in this case, that is not what happened. Trollborn dropped that key, but I think people are noting that all that's left is the compass. I think we're done in Tower of Hera.
Yeah, and that was a very clean second attempt there from Jighart. And looks like Azurell is setting up the bomb jump. Gets it very nicely. And interestingly enough, Jighart decides to skip checking the entirety of Death Mountain and is going to go right into Dark World now through the Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, that is an interesting choice. I mean, I guess it's a very high item density over there, but I could also see the appeal of maybe wanting to clear some other things first and see if when you can head to that side of the mountain, you know, when you're ready to head into Turtle Rock as well, since it is a crystal. But there's definitely a lot of items there, and the information of what medallion you need is good to have.
Yeah, and with finding that those Titan's Mitts, I mean, you can do both Dark World and Light World. There's Hookshot Cave, Paradox Cave, so many items up there. So we'll see if that's something that Azurell decides to do now. Because that can be pretty big if there's some key progression items up there. All right, and looks like Azurell is going to make those checks. So will this decision come back to hunt Jighart?
And Jighart playing my least favorite part of the game, the digging game.
Oh, you don't like RNG Simulator 2018?
It just can take so much time, and there's no way to... I mean, the spot that we do digging game is the only appropriate time to do digging game. And that's what I hate about it. I hate that I can't leave it for later when I found more items. And I know, and it could become skippable, you know what I mean? Like you could just get go mode instead. No, you're here early enough that you kind of just always have to do it, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Done Ether Medallion in the South of Grove cave.
That is a very nice find. Potentially the only medallion that we may need, but won't know that information here for just a little bit. Meanwhile, Azurell hasn't found anything inside of the Paradox Cave here. Alright, so looks like Jighart is on their way to Hype Cave and eventually to pick up that hammer on Helia Island.
And we've got Quake Medallion in Super Bunny Cave. And is Hype Cave gonna give us any hype? Nah,
Nope.
there's more rupees. Leaves a bomb for the hype cave man. I don't know what we call that character, so I just made that up.
Hey, I'll take Hype Caveman. And Bombos is required for Turtle Rock. So the only medallion that we haven't seen is going to be the one that is required for there.
Oh,
and there's Bombos.
And Jighart grabs that hammer.
Now we just need a fire rod. Ooh, there's some boots.
Hookshot Cave is the hype cave today, and
oh my gosh, the bow as well.
I spoke too soon. Hookshot Cave is very hype today.
And just a bomb capacity upgrade on the floating island. Oh, Jighart gonna make that early play into Swamp Palace.
Oh wow.
I mean, at this point, the only stuff that can be in there is what? Lamp and Fire Rod that can actually help us out a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think so with the information that Jighart has, making the decision to not check East Death Mountain, it's understandable. You have your flippers, your hook shot, and and your hammer was waiting for you there on the island. I get it. I mean, that's everything you need to finish this dungeon. It's just unfortunate because we're like between the two runners. If they both had each other's items right now, the items that the other has picked up, we'd be so close to go mode that this would seem like the last thing you want to do. You would want to see if you find that fire rod and lamp anywhere else, but
yeah. Plus, I don't know. There's this thing about me and Swamp Palace. It just doesn't quite agree. It almost feels like it's like a dungeon that just so many items in here, but almost never has anything in here.
I've definitely had a lot of required items in here, but the thing is, if you have the opportunity to go mode it, you definitely want to. And Azurell setting himself up to have the knowledge to know that an early swamp isn't really necessary, as far as we know, could still be beneficial. Jighart could get lucky with this play. I mean, there's a lot open right now.
Yeah, and you kind of do make a good point. Having all the items that you need to get in here to Swamp Palace, I mean, it's honestly not a bad choice for it to be, the second dungeon that you go. Well, the second dungeon you'd be able to complete, considering how early you got everything that you needed for it. So, yeah, you're right. Not a bad play, but ugh, swamp. It looks like Azurell is going to be making their way into the Village of Outcasts. And it looks like Jighart is going to be skipping the left side here.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice considering you have so many items that you don't know where they are that could very easily be on the left side. But Azurell has made his way into Skull Woods and will be hoping to find 2 items in here that are useful. Alright, so Jighart finding that compass, that means there's at least going to be 1 item on the left side of Swamp. If we find the map here, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jighart come back in here to go and collect the items over there.
Yeah. just very interested by this swamp play, and I'm excited to see if it pays off. I almost feel like it's a bit of a gamble, and again, just kind of following that temptation of having all the items you need right in front of the dungeon. But
yeah, for Jighart's sake, I really do hope that it pays off for them. It's always heartbreaking to go into a dungeon that you later find out that you could have go-moded, but yeah, let's hope that there's at least the lamp or the fire rod in here for them.
And the nice thing with those two items as well, I mean, Jighart doesn't necessarily know that those are kind of the only two items that we're looking for now, but the benefit of those items, at least, is that they don't open so much that it's going to bring Jighart off route from, finding the items that Azurell has already picked up.
That was a really nice Argus fight, and yes. There is the map, so there are definitely 2 more items. Well, definitely 3 items left, because Jighart did not open up that big chest with the big key, so I would not be surprised to see him come back in here and just get those 3 items out of the way. And Azurell checking the bumper cave, only sees that piece of heart. And they're back into the Village of Outcasts. Let's see if they go ahead and dip Thieves Town. It's a dungeon they can actually fully... Well, nope, they haven't been to get the hammer yet, so they can't, fully complete it. But they'll
might not be
able
necessary.
To check everything but the big chest.
Yeah, and always a possibility that there's nothing in that chest anyway.
Yep, it could be one of those situations where, the small key is locking the big chest, or locked in the big chest. Great time to route in the bottle, or the sick kid check here for Azurell.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can come through Village of Outcasts and sort of wrap things up nicely with that mirror, and if you've picked up a bottle but haven't been back yet.
Alright, so Azurell is indeed going into Thieves Town. Will our progression be waiting for us here? I'll be curious to see when Azurell does route back in those flipper checks to get that flute. That could be something that they may just forget about.
Oh, that's true. Azurell hasn't been over there. I forgot about that at this point. Mostly because we're so close to, we're kind of super close to go mode. Oh, the shovel. We just got the shovel out of swamp.
Yeah, shovel and red mail for Jighart was on the left side. So if that shovel doesn't produce some sort of progression, then swamp would have been a go modable dungeon here. Alright, looks like Jighart is going to be heading into the Village of Outcasts. Let's see if they go into Skull Woods like Azurell had.
I feel like with some of the decisions Jighart has been making, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, going right down into Village of Outcasts. I definitely, I think I think I always find it very interesting if we see sort of, you know, two very different approaches to handling a seed. I think Azurell seems to be going with some of the more tried and tested routing and sort of doing the more thorough checks. I think Jighart is gambling a little bit, but as we've seen, that can really pay off, and it's very interesting to see in a race.
Yeah, it definitely is interesting, and that was the Sanctuary Heart for Azurell, so good health fill up there.
Oh, and also Chaz making a good point. We don't know if Azurell saw the hammer on Lake Hyla Island either. I don't know. Oh, he did. Okay, so someone else is confirming that he did in fact see it. Yeah, Valera Bunny. So good.
Yeah, I love that sprite. Like I said, that's the one sprite that I always use whenever I play this, and it's so good. Alright, so Azurell did find that small key. Now, I could be mistaken, but I have yet to see the compass. Did we find the compass yet?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, if we have yet to see the compass, then Azurell needs this to not be the compass. Otherwise, there's going to be that one item location that'll be, you know, sitting there in the back of their mind in that big chest.
No, compass and map found.
Alright, so there's still going to be an item in that back chest, so I'm pretty sure Jighart will show us what that is and if that's going to be something important.
And just a red rupee off a blind.
And that is Azurell's second crystal. Yep, so see chat asking if anybody's checked Zora. Jighart was in the Zora area. That's where we had found the cape that was on the ledge there, but was 32 rupees shy of actually checking Zora for that item. So we still don't know what that item is. It could very well be, you know, that, you know, elusive fire source that we're looking for. Alright, and Azurell is going to be checking what the blacksmiths have here, and
another red rupee from the big chest in Thieves Town, so no progression for us there. Now, Azurell still might end up deciding to go back and check what's there, because if we're still stuck looking for an item, and he knows that he left it behind.
it looks like the blacksmiths were, I guess you can say surgeons today, giving us a heart. And Jighart having a pretty good blind fight. Looks like they're just barely off the scripted fight here, but you know, shouldn't be too bad. One more sword swing and we got it.
Very nice fight. 20 rupees for your trouble and a crystal.
Yep, and that makes 3 for Jighart now. Has the crystal lead, and so where do you go if you're Jighart now?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of things open. Mire area. You probably want to take a look at. I mean,
all right.
Oh, and I guess Jighart didn't. Yeah, Jighart didn't look at most of Death Mountain, so.
All right, so Jighart should be caught up here on items here very shortly.
And I wonder if Azura will make a call here to go into swamp since they're in this area, but you know, we know that we're not finding our fire sources there. So as much as they don't realize it, it definitely could benefit them to hold off and go mode swamp later.
Yeah, if I'm Azurell right now, I'd be pretty interested in checking out the Mire area, considering you have everything you have everything you need to access the dungeon. There's, desert access as well that you can go in there. I know we saw Jighart do or check Desert Palace earlier. So that's a thing, and you combine all that in and make some really quick item checks. So, once Hype Cave is disappointingly cleared out, then we may get a chance to see that from Azurell. And I forgot Azurell has not gotten the flute, so Mire is out of the plan.
Yeah, and I mean, I would like to think that I would make the right call in this situation, but realistically speaking, I would go into swamp right now if I was Azurell. I know myself. That's definitely what I would end up doing, and then I would full clear it and then find nothing,
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very tempted to as well. Like, I'd be sitting there, fighting the temptation and just probably give into it, and then be dreading it the entire time. Considering I absolutely do not like Swamp Palace at all. But Azurell does go to the Lake Healy Island. We'll be getting their hammer. And maybe they'll be tempted to go and dip pod now.
I mean, it looks like they're going for swamp.
All right, and looks like Jighart is into the gold mine that is Hype Cave, or Hookshot Cave. I mean, it's pretty hype this time around. How about Hype?
A great Hookshot Cave. I'm glad we got to relive it again.
Yeah. How about Hype Shot Cave? I think that'll work.
Oh, I like that. I like it. And I mean, I definitely Azurell's decision here definitely makes sense. I mean, I could see. I think because they're looking for, I don't know. It's such a hard. It's so these are the kind of decisions in Rando that can be so hard to make. I think because they still need any light source or any fire source. I could see making this play right now instead of pod, because you're thinking maybe my fire source, maybe my first fire source is going to be the lamp anyway. And so you wouldn't necessarily dip into pod planning to do it in the dark, looking for just fire rod.
Yeah,
but I think if they had fire rod, a lot of runners would just head into pod first and worry about lamp later. But you know, for all they know right now with the situation they're in, lamp could be, you know, lamp could be in swamp blocking fire rod. But also important to note, Jighart did not come here earlier, so we're gonna get some very nice routing on the way to pod here.
Yeah, it's really nice being able to, hold off on going to see, Sahasrahla for as long as you can. Yeah, you'll be very curious to see if our first fire source is going to be in here. You know, if we at least find the fire rod, then the worst of the dark rooms will be at least manageable. You know, that dreaded turtle room at the very end.
Yes.
But yeah, it looks like Azurell has decided to do exactly what Jighart did and is going to be skipping the left side here in Swamp Palace. So they may go back through and check those two chests and the big chest when they're done, considering they will have every dungeon item. Yeah, so far, pretty standard Palace of Darkness. Bunch of keys. Start out. Yeah, it looks like Azurell is going to be heading back to pick up that big chest here. And falls victim to the worst staircase in any Zelda game to this date.
Yes.
All right, so still keys, and more keys for
Nothing
Jighart.
but keys. Okay, we should start finding items pretty soon.
I mean, I will be curious to see if Jighart does decide to go into the dark rooms. Not sure if they've completed them or know how to do them, so it'll be interesting to see if they decide to give a shot at those.
Yeah, I feel like pod is a fairly early one that a lot of people attempt to learn. Having said that, it took me forever before I learned them, so I could hardly judge if they haven't.
I mean, I have to be honest. I have a diagram of the Palace of Darkness Dark Maze as my desktop background, so I can see it while I'm racing.
Nice. That's a good idea. I like that. I might have a new desktop background to set up after this.
Hey, whatever helps, right?
Yep. And we have the wonderful menu strats on Wow, why can't I remember the boss's name? I was on Argus right now for an Azurell. So I might be a little more tired than I thought I was. Always takes a while having to switch back and forth between the two.
Yep, menu is going to be the final boss for this seed for Azurell here. But takes out the Argus puffs here pretty easily. And Argus is down, so Azurell ties up that crystal count. Now let's see if they decide to gamble and not check those chests at all. Alright, so Dark Maze so far only having a heart container.
Jighart navigating it well, though.
Yeah, very well done so far from Jighart.
Oh, and a heart piece. The Dark Maze of Love.
I was trying to think of something, snazzy to say after that, but I just can't come up with anything. Alright, so they are going to dip out after finding those items in the Dark Maze. So where does Jighart go from here? Looks like the play is going to be into Eastern Palace. Now, thankfully, what we saw from Azurell is 3 of the first 4 chests in here are going to contain the items, so be a really quick check here for Jighart, probably one of the quickest checks you can make of Eastern Palace.
Yep. So at this point, where is our lamp sitting? Turtle Rock?
I would be,
Ice? I mean, I guess everything's pretty open.
Yeah, everything's pretty open, but, so far with my experience, Turtle Rock, regardless of what it is, seems to always have something in that chain chomp room. I don't know why it always ends up being like that, but I almost always find some sort of progression there or see some sort of progression there, so it wouldn't surprise me if we found, at this point even, Fire Rod in that room.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, Jighart, while doing Eastern, is going to allow Azurellespeed a little bit of time to catch up. Azurell did make this check earlier, so we'll kind of start seeing some, well, we may see some convergence here pretty soon. Alright, so that is it for Azurell, and Jighart is finally going to show us what that mushroom is going to give us. And, maybe it'll be time for more fetch quests. Did Jighart check the shovel yet?
I was just trying to remember that as well. I don't recall. And of course, more rupees.
Yeah, this seed has been very generous with rupees.
Yeah, and it's clearly reflected in the rupee counts for both runners. Plus 10 bomb upgrade.
Alright, so not great. Maybe Jighart might be going to check the graveyard ledge now, and maybe route that into Catfish and check the Zora. Or is going to prove me completely wrong and do the Smiths.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Smiths and Hammer Pegs. But we do see Azurell. They are heading up toward the pyramid area now, or catfish area. Once again,
Yes.
proving me wrong. I should just stop.
And you know, this routing works out because they can also mirror over to Waterfall Cave, which I believe they need to check for the flute. Yes.
Yeah, this is going to be perfect for Azurell. Yeah, so they'll be picking up their flute. They'll be able to see what Zora has. They'll be able to... Well, I don't know. Since you've already been to Bumper Cave...
Yeah, I don't think you would
get the cape?
I don't think you would. I mean, they might. They might make that choice, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a good safety item, and having half of magic, it can kind of trivialize some things later on in the seed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You've already got potions and quite a bit of hearts, so even going into something like Spike Cave wouldn't be too dangerous without that invincibility. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what Azurell does here. Oh boy, and there's the fire rod.
Okay. So wait, fire rod, they pick up their flute. I mean, we just need a lamp now, but how badly do we need a lamp now? Mire dark rooms are kind of rough.
Yeah, Mire dark rooms are kind of rough, and if you aren't familiar with the dark room in Turtle Rock, that can be a little bit of a pain.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the dark room in Turtle Rock has a pretty straightforward solution to it. There's sort of the fast way that you kind of have to learn. There's also an easier way that you can just kind of do it. It's just a bit slower. But if you haven't learned the other way yet, but it's still not great. And the basement to pod can be rough as well. But still we could effectively be in go mode, or we're waiting for that lamp drop. And it's not gonna come from Zora.
Alright, so Azurell picks up that cape that we had talked about. And if you're Azurell now, this seed is completely wide open for you. Me, personally, I'd be kind of tempted to go to Misery Mire at this point. Because there's the Mire Shed with that flute and, Checkerboard Cave. I mean, the only bad thing, like you mentioned before, is that dark room. But it would still be very tempting to go there.
Yeah, I think in this exact situation, I could also see heading into Skull Woods. Now that but I don't remember if we found 2 items in Skull Woods or if we just found 1 and then had to leave. But it could have the lamp.
Yeah, that's
if there's still an item there, but I don't recall.
Yeah, it looks like that's what Azurell is going to go ahead and do, so we'll get a chance to see the remainder of Skull Woods here. And another interesting thing to note here as well, with the Skull Woods completion here for Azurell, that'll also open up the Pyramid Ferry, as Swamp Palace was already completed. And looks like we may be getting a pedestal check here from Jighart. My money's on Couch Cash. What do you say?
Oh, interesting. It was too late. I was definitely gonna say bomb capacity upgrade, obviously.
Of course. Alright, so Jighart knows that the fire rod is not going to be there. And with half magic, this should be a pretty easy fight here for Azurell. It's going to take just 8 fire rod shots on the moth. If you can get a Master Sword Swing in there, you know, every now and then, that can help out. And yeah, it should be a pretty good fight here.
Yep.
And if you really need it, you have that cape. Plus, you have blue potion. So yeah, it should be pretty good fight here. And Mothula is not wanting to budge from the top of the screen there. It's the worst place that Mothula can be because, you know, as you know, if you hit Mothula into the spikes after Mothula takes damage, the damage is negated, so
Yeah.
you don't really deal damage, and that's the worst.
Arrow upgrade and a crystal. But as you said, that's our 5 and 6 crystals. Our Pyramid Fairy is available.
Yeah, and with that, Azurell takes the lead in the crystal count here. And, you know, with Jighart heading over this direction now, we could very well see them, you know, combine the catfish check into this as well.
Yeah, I think that seems pretty likely.
Alright, so what does Azurell do now? I don't believe they'd gone to the graveyard ledge here that Jighart's checking already.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
And it looks like they may be going to do the hammer pegs now, and just 20 rupees on that graveyard ledge. So that is not our lamp. So, you know, I kind of want to open this up to chat. Chat, where do you think this lamp is going to be? You know, there's a few locations left that we're, you know, that we are you know, have the potential to have that lamp. So, where do you guys think that lamp is going to be? My money once again is on that chain chomp room. For some reason, it just always feels like there's something there.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. It could be in as far into Turtle Rock as Mimic Cave or the Big Chest, and I think I'm betting on that area. I think that all the way into Turtle Rock is what I think I'm thinking of. Especially with that fire rod drop, I mean, you have a good chance of being able to get you're set up to get through all of Turtle Rock except for needing that lamp.
Yeah, and that was Tempered Sword for Azurell in the Mire Shed. And yeah, interestingly, it's I've seen somebody in here say Sahasrara in chat. That is a very interesting and definite possibility. We have that fire rod, so Land One is, you know, completely killable. Now, if Azurell goes into Misery Mire and doesn't find that lamp, do you think we'll see an attempt on the Dark Room, or, you know, a double dip?
I wonder. It looks like. Yeah, I don't know at this point. I would love to see the Dark Rooms.
Yeah, and yeah, Jighart is now going to be picking up their fire rod from the catfish here. gives us some frustration slashes, and we'll be heading up to Zora to be thoroughly disappointed yet again, because that's what Zora does. Takes your money and kind of leaves you broken, and yeah. But Misery Mire is the play for Azurell.
Yep. And there is so much before the dark room here that it's entirely possible we'll have our lamp. And again, I kind of hope we see some dark rooms. That would be fun to see in here. They're definitely very tricky ones. In particular, that first one, placing that block, never fun.
Oh, Jighart, you had me excited there. You quit to Death Mountain. I thought you were going to go into Turtle Rock. But looks like the play into the Village of Outcasts once again to head on up to Mothula. So overall, what are your impressions of the seed so far? Pretty tame.
It's you know, I'm never surprised at a trolley lamp location anymore. It's been a nice seed otherwise, and that lamp could still be in a pretty nice spot. You know, it's just that there's a lot open.
Yeah, I think the worst possible scenario would be, you know, having lamp be somewhere on, like, you know, say Cold Stair or something.
Yes. Exactly. Like there's enough that we can't assume just yet that it's on a trolley location. It's just that we got a lot of progression early. We got most of our key items early, and so it's just a lot left open to be holding that last item.
Oh, and it looks like Azurell maybe going to Brave the Dark Room here. They found the big key and they're heading straight back. This is a very interesting play here. I mean, you're gonna be getting your wish.
And the thing that's exciting about this too is that if Azurell can do this one, I'm pretty confident they can do the other dark rooms that they need to do. I mean, like, maybe Pod is a close tie for most difficult dark rooms, but I feel like it's Mire. I mean, aside from Aga Tower, but I don't think anyone actually seriously wants to learn those ever. So.
Yeah, and if Azurell can do this dark room here, then it would. I mean, it'd be a pretty safe bet to say go mode for Azurell.
Yeah.
But so far, it's having just a little bit of trouble finding that switch and getting that Samaria block down on it.
Yeah, and this is definitely the tough part.
Yeah, if you can make it through this room, you can make it through the rest of them here.
Meanwhile, Jighart is heading over to Pod.
Yeah, with that Fire Rod, Palace of Darkness, that the one dark room that is, well, a couple dark rooms that are left, will be pretty easy, as there is a torch in that turtle room, so.
Looks like Azurell almost had it, but the block pushed a little too far, the door closed.
Yeah, that is definitely unfortunate for Azurell. So they're going to go ahead and leave Misery Mire, and we'll be coming back once they do find that lamp.
It looks like they're going to check Desert first. Which is definitely, I mean, Still a little trolly, but it would be ideal if you can find lamp here and then hop right back into Misery Mire. Oh, although Jighart was here earlier.
Yeah, I didn't recall if we saw both items from Desert. I know we at least saw one. I believe there's one in this these upcoming rooms here, but I forget what was in the big key chest. That's the one that I missed. Okay, so rupees are on the torch. Okay, so yeah, only thing that can come out of here would be the item from the green pendant.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, chat. Yeah, Jighart showing us the power of that fire rod in the dark room here.
Yep, that makes it through to the boss room. Looking good to go here.
Yep, and looks like Azurell will be making their way into Agnes Cave here as well. So I pretty much think we're down to Ice Palace or Turtle Rock for that fire rock, or for that lamp.
And you know, if Jighart is comfortable with the dark rooms in Mire, then that could make a big difference.
Yeah, and yeah, Jighart takes the crystal lead back. So this has been a pretty back and forth race the entire time. And Azurell is actually making the play, it looks like, on Turtle Rock. There's nothing else that we can check up here aside from Turtle Rock. So you just gotta hope that that lamp's here, because, you know, once again, if you don't know how to do the dark room here, it can be a little tricky. And Azurell proves me wrong.
Oh, this is... Oh, okay. I completely forgot about this as well. The old man had the red canes, so the lamp can't be in Turtle Rock.
Oh, wow, that's right. So it's gonna be an Ice Palace at this point. I mean, I can't really think of anywhere else unless it's from the green pendant. Yeah, I completely forgot that the old man gave us his cane.
Meanwhile, Jighart is heading right into Mire, and I think I'm excited to see if he's going to be looking around for items or if he's just ready to go and heads, you know, just finds that big key and goes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, if Jighart can do the dark rooms here, it would be, you know, absolutely huge. Big advantage over, you know, Azurellespeed here.
Yeah. And I mean, we're at a point now where we're really suspecting that lamp is pretty hidden away. So if it could end up making a huge difference if Jighart doesn't need to go looking for it like Azurell does. On Ender, to rescue the old man, you need the lamp. So the old man is in a dark cave that the lamp lights up. So technically speaking, lamp is required to rescue him. It's just that a lot of people can navigate that room in the dark and bypass having to get the lamp first. But it means that Turtle Rock, which requires the cane, can't possibly hold the lamp. Otherwise, that would mean that it's blocking itself. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling like Jighart's been moving with purpose. That's for sure. So it looks like he's headed right for the boss on this one.
Yeah, and this is going to be huge for the outcome of this race. That lamp, I mean, like you said before, it seems like it's pretty tucked away.
Yeah.
So being able to, take care of this dark room and as well as the one in Turtle Rock would just be monumental.
The unfortunate thing in this dark room is that once you get thrown off, never mind. I was gonna say, once you get a bit thrown off, it's really hard to do, but there we go. Jighart is through it. For those of you who maybe couldn't tell what was happening because of the darkness, he has moved on. He's now 3 dark rooms in of 5 that you have to navigate through to get out of here.
4, I believe. There's that first one with the block, then there's the second one that's pretty easy. The third one has the spike, and the fourth one with the bomb wall. Well, no, you're right, 5 because there's the torch or the crystal switch.
Yeah. I guess
that one.
It's kind of the same room.
Yeah. Alright, so Azurell has been working their way through Pod and will be going into the Dark Maze here. And Jighart using that cape and the tempered spins to take out these vitreous eyeballs here. And maybe able to save an arrow or two from the spins on the actual vitreous eyeball. But makes that fight look really easy and now has Misery Mire completed, so it'll be on to Turtle Rock for Jighart here.
Yep. Yeah, having now seen that room dealt with, I can't imagine that Jighart is at all worried about Turtle Rock. And so I guess we didn't officially call it, but I guess it's safe to say that this is essentially Jighart's Go mode right now. I don't think we ever actually called anyone as being in Go mode, but it seems like Jighart technically is.
Yep, with those dark room navigations, no lamp is needed, so yeah, I think you're right. It is pretty safe to say that. But Azurell does make it through the dark maze and does not find that lamp, but they are going to be continuing back on through Pod. And like we'd seen from Jighart with that fire rod, that turtle room will be pretty easy and manageable. So Azrael is just going to go ahead and get this dungeon finished up, and we'll be on the hunt for that lamp. Well, potentially on the hunt for that lamp. I think if they go back to Misery Mire, then they may not eventually look for that lamp.
I will be curious to know where it is, if it's behind Green Pendant, as we've been talking about, or if it's an Ice Palace, which seems the most likely at this point.
Alright, so Azrael making their way into these dark rooms here. Trying to find that torch. Yeah, so all you have to do once you enter this room, if you go immediately to the left to the point to where the top of the room meets the, I guess you can say, the sloped corner of the room, then all you can do is fire a fire rod shot down that will light up those torches. There we go. Azrael finds that that torch there. And hard part out of the way, they are now going to be on their way to the Helmsor King. Alright, and that is the Helmsor King down for Azurellespeed, and Jighart is making their way at a really good pace through Turtle Rock so far.
Yeah, and it's always nice when you're heading through and you find that big key. You can grab that extra key from the one pokey. Don't have to worry about checking that chest in the middle of the pipe room.
Yep, so let's see what Azurellespeed decides to do now. Looks like...
I think Pyramid Fairy, probably.
That's right, I completely forgot about that. The lamp can be there. So it may not have been as tucked away as we thought.
Hopefully. That is sort of the ideal situation for Azrael right now, is if lamp is in Pyramid Fairy. That's kind of their best case scenario at this point.
Alright, so here's a moment of truth for Jighart. First portion done. Yep, and Jighart will be making it through here pretty easily. So no lamp for Jighart, no problem.
And with enough keys, don't even need to check Laser Bridge. Jighart is heading right through the Trinex. Oh,
Oh,
no
no.
lamp. No lamp at Pyramid Fairy, unfortunately. And Jighart heads into the Trinex fight. Pretty well equipped. Shouldn't be too difficult of a fight here.
All right, so while we are in the last crystal fight for Jighart, we're about ready for everybody's favorite guessing game.
Yay!
So everybody, there is 22 locations inside of Ganon's Tower for that big key to be. Now, if you have donated, 250 bits or been a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming channels, you have the opportunity to be on our leaderboard for this big key guessing game. So, Basley, I gotta ask, where do you think this big key is going to be?
I'm going to say 14 is my guess. I'm specifically thinking of the routing that makes 14 Bob's chest. But I'm just going to say 14 just in case they go the other way and it's still 14. I still would like to win. So, how about you?
Let's see here. I'm kind of hoping for a pretty generous start here, so I'm going to say 5. Put it in that that mini, or that Stalfos room, regardless. Well, I guess it could be the compass room, depending on. Yeah, we'll still go with 5. Why not 5?
And we're about to start getting our checks in here. Our first one is here, and then the compass. So we've got 2 down already. I don't recall exactly the protocol on what we do with the bot, but I think I have to tell it to stop now. I think that's a thing that I do. We're probably caught up enough that nobody needs to... Okay, yeah, cool. Yay.
Yeah. So, 3 locations down. There is number 4. 5 is bomb, so I lose.
6 and 7.
And for anybody who was here about this time last night, I promise I won't miscount this time.
Some blue goo in 8.
Yeah, and found some pretty good safeties here in Ganon's Tower. That powder and that blue potion will make this a really safe ascent up Ganon's Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, that is 9 down.
We got 10. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Because Azurell's making their way through Turtle Rock. So...
Still haven't found that lamp either. Got 10 through 13 here. 12 and 13, so next chest is my guess. Fingers crossed.
Will Bob be holding out on us again today?
And it looks like Azurell is full clearing Turtle Rock, which, I mean, at this point in the seed, pretty understandable that they're... I mean, we earlier had forgotten that Kane was on Old Man, meaning we weren't going to find Lamp here. So I can understand Azurell kind of making that same making that same mistake and thinking the same way, checking all the item locations here, not knowing that they're not going to find it. Oh, just a small key from Bob's chest at number 14. And 17 is the key.
All right, so this time it was 17. That's a number that I messed up on last night when it was actually,
oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Keith, okay. And congratulations, Blue XY, for being the first sub or supporter to guess correctly.
Yeah, great job on that guess.
4 wins. Dang. Very nice. You've taken the top of the leaderboard. And with that, Jighart is starting to climb up Ganon's tower, about to hit that gauntlet.
Alright, so let's see what Azurell does here without finding that lamp, if they try to brave this dark platform room as well. I mean, I do have to commend Azurell for these dark room navigations, the seed. It's that Misery Mire one can be one that's pretty tough to to get caught up on, or to it's pretty easy to get caught up in that room,
yeah, and it seems to be sort of like the only one they're not comfortable with, which I think is totally understandable. I think that's the case for a lot of people right now. But it seems like what Jighart did, some people were commenting, is a pretty easy way to get through that room, is to get yourself into the bottom left corner, move a bit to the right, and then throw the block up. But it's definitely a dark room that gives people a lot of trouble. Again, all this not counting the Aga Tower dark rooms, those don't count in my mind.
Yeah, those rooms are just awful. Alright, and with that, Jighart has completed Land Molus 2 and is up to the best rooms in the game with that Canis Maria block. Such a thing of beauty, being able to use it like that, to take out these wizarobes.
And Azurell has picked up Butter Sword from Laser Bridge.
Oh, that's a nice find. So, unfortunately for Jighart, they were running a little bit low on magic, had to burn that blue potion here. But with that, Azurell's making Trinex look really easy with that Butter Sword. And interestingly enough, we have yet to see those silver arrows.
That's true, and we've checked quite a bit. I mean, between both runners, because Azurell's been looking for that lamp. We've seen a lot of stuff. Oh, little more Bunny Valera for everyone.
Alright, so we are on to Moldorm 2 for Jighart. Oh, another thing we haven't checked was Spike Cave. That could very well have
That's
the lamp as
definitely...
well.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't seen anything in Spike Cave for a while. Oh, a piece of heart.
Yeah, just a piece of heart. So, yeah, it's gotta be at Sahasrahla or Ice Palace. So let's see if Azrael decides to give Misery Mire another shot. I mean, they were so close to getting that that switch in that room. And Jighart finishes up Aghanim 2. Will be our first runner into Ganon here, around the 1 hour 42-ish minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
And Azrael is deciding to check Ice Palace, so if it's not an Ice Palace, I think it would have to be on Sahasrahla.
Yeah, there's not... I can't think of anything else that we haven't been to. That could have it.
Jighart gets perfect Ganon positioning there for Phase 2. And
Yeah, that was
already,
great.
yeah, already into Phase 3.
And we are about to get a clue as to where those silvers were hiding.
Oh, they're in
were
Ganon's tower. Maybe in that
somewhere
compass
in
room.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, probably in that compass room, or maybe even in the big chest. So for those who don't know, if you don't have a silver arrows, you need to do 12 spins here as Ganon is teleporting around the room here in order to take Ganon out. So Jighart is just about there. A couple more swings. Or one more.
There it is.
So barring any disasters, looks like Jighart will be taking this one down.
Yep, that would be GG for Jighart. Very well played, showing us the importance of knowing those dark.
Indeed. So once again, GG to Jighart finishes with a time of about 1 hour 44 minutes and 19 seconds. Let me see if I can go ahead and get in contact with Jighart and see if we can get them in here for an interview.
Excellent. And while we're mentioning that, while we're setting that up, good time to mention that if you enjoyed this race, be sure to give both these runners a follow, both doing a great job here today. Definitely people that you want to check out for more Link to the Past Randomizer, and I'm sure other things as well.
All right, so looks like Jighart is in our waiting room, so I'm going to go ahead and pull them on in here and get them in here for an interview.
Awesome. Hello, Jighart GG.
Hello, thank you very much.
How are you feeling after that seed?
Freaking tired. Okay, so
Fair.
to put a little bit of context, Azurell and I had very conflicting schedule, and it was really difficult to find a good spot for all of us. So it was super late for him and super early for me. So we are on equal grounds, but yeah, it was a difficult seed, I think.
Yeah, there's, I mean, above all else, it shows just how valuable really having those dark rooms down is, because that, I mean, I would say that was the words. I'm tired too, apparently. That was what made the difference here. That's kind of what sealed the deal.
Okay.
Was that Azurell is back looking for that lamp now, because unfortunately couldn't get through the Mire, the Mire dark rooms.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
But it was a lot of back and forth otherwise.
Yeah, this race was... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm actually glad I never found the lamp, because early on I got the Master Sword and I saw the hammer on the lake. And I was like, it's 99% Aghanim seed. But if I had found the lamp, I would have gone for Aghanim straight away, because I thought the myths wouldn't be around. I didn't even have the gloves. And then I found the myths and I thought, wow, I would have lost 6-7 minutes going there. So in a way, I'm glad I never found it. So, but I wonder where it is now.
Yeah, I mean, Azurell has to be getting close to it, because there isn't much else left to check where it could be at this point. I think, I want to say between the two of you we've seen it all, but I think at this point now, even just Azurell has checked everything he could have for that lamp location.
I have a feeling it might be Green Pendant.
Oh,
maybe.
And we got it. It's in. Yep, just got it out of ice.
Okay. It's nice.
The Spike Room and Ice Palace.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was a, like Basley just said, this was a very back and forth race. Both of you, the lead changed several times throughout the duration of this race. And Azurell was the first one into Misery Mire and got into that dark room, and unfortunately had some trouble, so they had to back out. But they did the Turtle Rock dark rooms and the Pod dark rooms. So this was a really close and tight race.
It was fun to see these ones.
Yeah, and I think early on, one sort of thing that seemed like it was making a difference was also that fire rod location, which we saw you react to a little bit once you finally picked it up.
Oh, I had no lamp and no fire rod. I was like, where the hell is the fire? And I hadn't done Sora because I didn't have the money, so I thought I'm gonna just do everything north, then Catfish, then Zora, and Catfish had it, so yeah. But I was starting to be a little desperate. I would have gone to Charles Rock after that without the fire rod, so that would have gone poorly, I think. On a side note, we got the very rare sword opening. For those who don't have the numbers, like 2% chance to have that, so special occasion.
Yeah, there was some excitement about that, and I was unaware that in the sword opening you actually see Uncle with the sword. I didn't know that was something that happened, so I learned that tonight. That was great. Yeah, pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. If you decide to go back and watch the VOD, I apologize for hoping for a bomb escape.
Well,
I'd like to think that wishing that was what led to there being some bomb drops in escape on the way, so it was a good thing, I promise.
All right, I'll give you the credit for that. But I was actually hoping for a bomb escape because that's aside from sword, I think it's my strongest escape. It's the one I practice the most. So yeah.
Well, to be fair, that's why I was hoping for it. I wanted to see. I actually said I just really want to see it done really well. So I mean, there we go. We're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the bomb escape because there's just you get to see runners with different, strategies with those bombs. Like, you can see them, placing the bombs in specific locations so that when one blows up, the next one blows up immediately afterward, and you kill the guards that way. Or you see some that try to get the guards stuck on the chest and the obstacles in those rooms. I mean, it's really interesting, and I don't know, I love to see it.
There are a couple of setups that are pretty consistent for the blue guards. Green guard is always going to do whatever he wants, but once you get the idea of how you want to place the bombs, you get it like 90% of the times. But it takes a little bit of practice and of training. I'll give you that.
And Azurell's picking up their last crystal out of Misery Mire. Gonna be able to head to Ganon's tower now. Are there any other thoughts that you have on the seed or the race?
Nothing specific. I think otherwise I did a lot of execution mistakes, but I will put that on the account of being tired. A lot of bongs, a lot of failures, but yeah. Otherwise, no, it was a fun seed nonetheless. It was a good race.
Alright, so, once again, Jighart, GG. And I think we are going to go ahead and finish on commentating up Azurellespeed's ascent up to Ganon's tower at this point.
Thanks for commentating and tracking. Whoever is the tracker, I don't remember who.
Yeah. We have a Bacon on tracking.
Oh yeah, Bacon. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It was a great pleasure. So, I'm thinking the big key might be in 17.
I mean, yeah, it sounds about right. That was going to be my guess.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, there is always a possibility that we could see it be number 21 if Azurell decides to, go to the right side after finding a couple keys.
This is true. This is true.
So there's still some mystery here.
I mean, it's not quite the 1 to 22 guess, but there's 2 guesses to make. 2 options, basically. Oh, or they could route the other way and then open that chest first when they get to that room.
Yeah. So there's still some guessing that can be happening here. Right, so it looks like the left side it is, so but it could potentially be 16 instead of 17. Or we could even see a crazy 15 if they open.
I'm glad chat is having their own conversation while we're memeing. Honestly, though, this was a fun race to watch, and again, interesting for seeing how significant dark rooms can be on a seed, where without necessarily having practiced them all very well, you can end up looking for lamp, and that making a huge time difference for you. Not to mention the time spent on trying to get a dark room done.
Yeah, this is yeah, you make a really great point there.
I mean, otherwise, like we said, it was very back and forth, very, very close. So it's it definitely shows how significant it can be to practice those.
Yeah, and I'm sure Azurell is not going to be pleased to hear that they were actually in the lead at that point when they were in Misery Mire. But it happens. Because that Misery Mire room, if you aren't 100% comfortable, there's a couple different setups you can use in that room. But a lot of things that can happen that can throw you off. Those fireballs can hit you and throw you off your mark, and doing anything practically blind is not easy. So I mean, can't really fault Azurell there.
Yeah.
Alright, so we are very close to get our information of whether it's going to be 15, 16, or 17 here.
I like that you're very invested in that.
Really am. I mean, it's the last thing here in this seed that we don't know what could happen.
It's the last variable. It's the last unknown.
Indeed. Oh, it's 17 again.
17 again.
But
also the title of a movie, but 17 again. But this time with less Zac Efron.
But with that, Azurell is on their way up to the gauntlet now. And interesting enough, they can just, yep, there we go.
Yeah.
Just let those beams from these gorillas hit off of that mirror shield. And that Beamos had to come and wreck the party. Had a pretty clean spike room, almost made it through there without getting hit by the spikes. I still don't know how to do that consistently. But we are into the gauntlet now, and Jighart, or excuse me, Azurell making this room seem pretty easy. Those little red skellies can be a pain in the behind. And you know, I really want to know whoever thought putting Beamos on a conveyor belt in a room full of ice thought it would be a great idea.
Yeah, the gauntlet rooms are interesting. They're very difficult, but also there's no real. I don't know. I feel like there's no real precedent for them. It feels like the kind of thing that the game doesn't necessarily teach you to do. It's just kind of like, here you go, have fun.
It's like, remember that stuff that you absolutely hated about Ice Palace? Here, have some more.
It's more like, remember the things that your most hated things from each dungeon? Here they are, all in one room, and we're gonna throw in some extra twists for you.
Yeah, it's just awful. And then they give you a nice grand finale right before Aga 2 in a room with bumpers, spikes, ice, and Helmosaurs that like to knock you all over the place. But Azurell makes it through these rooms very nicely and is now into the torch room and will not have to worry about magic as they do have that lamp this time around. Oh, that was so close there. About a half a second sooner, and we may have seen a despawn Ganon's tower. And we are now on to everybody's almost favorite final boss, Holdarm 2. Oh, so that's 2 pokes, so 1... Oh, never mind.
Yeah, you have to think that the developers knew just how difficult they made this boss. You know, it may be the 3rd boss in the game, but they also decided it was appropriate for it to be the 3rd last boss in the game. I feel, and if anything, the 2nd time around, it's easier. So I feel like they knew that one day Moldorm would be referred to as Trolldorm.
Yeah, they had to. Alright, so Azurell is now on to Aga 2. And so far, been doing pretty good with this Aga. Some pretty generous positions here. And then I had to talk. So if there's anything we learned about this seed is whenever I say something, the opposite happens.
Yeah, if I recall from the first time, the positioning wasn't horrible, but it's not ideal by any means. Those are definitely some agate positions that you can get set up for, but they can be a little tricky. There's definitely worse positions, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And at least we didn't get the Aga Shadow or Phantom desync that can happen, where one of them is firing too late or too early for you to actually hit him with it.
Yeah, what's even worse is when you get both of them. I saw that. I think that happened in the race that I was commentating last night.
Oh no. And with Butter Sword, Azurell will be getting through these phases pretty quickly. We're already on to phase 2, as you can see, and I think that was probably more than enough hits for phase 3 to start. And just a few more for extra for good measure.
Yep, so that is phase 3 started, already a quarter of the way there. And that is phase 3. We are into phase 4. So now, even with Tempered Sword, we still have to do, or excuse me, even with the Gold Sword, we still have to do 12 spins to defeat Ganon here.
Yeah. Oh no. Azurell unfortunately takes a fall.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate here for Azurell. Thankfully, they can get a health refill here from this fairy, or mostly refilled here.
But yeah, as you were saying, still spins because Tempered Sword, Butter Sword does not do additional damage when spinning, so it still does it still does the same amount of damage.
And Ganon's in a pretty good position again. Alright, so into phase 3 we are again. And Ganon does not want to be touched.
Yes, unfortunately, if you do, teleports aren't reset to the pattern, they continue. And so you can get some very frustrating patterns the second time around. Unfortunately, that is what we're getting right now.
Yeah, these teleports, ugh. Oh, unfortunately misses the torch glitch. So, if there is anybody here new to A Link to the Past, even, if you light that bottom left torch before both torches go out, you'll get what is called the torch glitch, which means that that bottom right torch will never go out, and all you have to do is light that left torch each time, and you can save yourself some magic and some time from having to relight both torches. Now, Azurell does have to be a little careful here. I don't know if they have more blue potions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Or so they were frequently picking them up, and they're headed to the menu now. Looks like there is still a blue potion, yeah. But Azurell will have to be careful with their magic use from here on out. I don't know if they have another one. They do have 3 bottles.
I think at this point, as long as they at least get 1 spin per cycle, we should have enough magic to finish this off. But gets nice, 2 nice spins there. Oh no, unfortunately misses those fire rod shots there. Okay, so
still one more blue potion. Still one more.
And there we have it. Azrael takes down Ganon. And we'll be getting you that time here very shortly. So GG to Azrael for finishing up this seed. And finishes with a time of about 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 38 seconds. And with that, we are joined by Azrael here in the Discord. GG on finishing that race. We are having a little bit of difficulty hearing you if you are speaking.
Hello.
But,
Oh, there we go.
there we are. So, GG on finishing up here. How are you feeling after this race here today?
I think we still might be having some issues at the moment, unfortunately. See if we can get this figured out.
So, Azrael, how are you feeling after that race? Alright, well, we are working through some technical difficulties here, so bear with us just a moment, and we'll see if we can't get this straightened out so we can hear from Azrael here. All right, so overall, this wasn't a terrible seed. It was a really good race between both these racers, back and forth throughout. So. And just once again, just bear with us really quickly here. Just trying to see if we can't get this squared away.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, it seems like Azurell can't.
All right, so Azurell, are you able to hear us at all? All right, so unfortunately, Azurell is unable to hear us right now. We're having some difficulties here, you know, in getting this this interview. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and you know, work on getting everything wrapped up here.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I do just want to say, you know, thank you once again. You know, Basley, it was a pleasure getting to commentate with you. It was a blast. You know, Bacon, thank you so much for tracking for us tonight. You know, this was, you know, once again, a fantastic race between Jighart and Azurellespeed. It was very back and forth throughout. Unfortunately, it just came down to dark rooms. You know, that Misery Mire dark room seemed to, you know, be that nail in the coffin. Unfortunately, you know, Azurell was the first one into that room, and you know, seemed to be a decent way ahead, but that's what caught them up in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally understandable. Something that definitely seen before, and but otherwise, you saw how great both of these runners were, doing a fantastic job. And yeah, so be sure to give them a follow, and thank you too as well. It's wonderful doing commentary with you. Thanks everyone for watching, and of course, Bacon on tracking.
Yeah, and so you know, once again, you know, fantastic race between you know, between Jighart and Azurell. You know, Azurell, if you are able to hear us, you know, watching back this VOD, fantastic race. It was, you know, like I said, it was just that Misery Mire dark room that really decided this race. You know, I can't wait to see, you know, what you do is, yeah, I can't wait to see where you go in this tournament. And you know, it is still only round 2, so even though you are 0-2, still in the running to make the bracket stage. All you need is, you know, with 2 losses, still have the opportunity to make it into those brackets. So anything can happen from here on out, and I cannot wait to see, you know, where you go from here. Once again, GG to Jighart for this race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with that, I think we're going to head out. Unfortunately, technical difficulties still abound. So again, thank you everyone for watching, and have a great night.